Um, coaching staff do a great job, week in, week out with the game plan. And my front 10 do an amazing job of just, creating alleys and lanes for me to run through. Without them, it's not possible. My job is just to catch the ball first and foremost and secure the ball, get it back to offense. And whatever happens after that, hopefully it's positive for the offense. And I always joke with the O-line and stuff about keeping them off the field as much as possible or making the distance, for them to score points is as short as possible. And that just taking care of, the guys on the team, us playing for one another out there on the field and, having fun and enjoying it while we're doing it. And, like I said, my front 10 do a great job of just protecting me. And, unfortunately, I'm rewarded with the touchdowns and stuff like that, but without them, it's not possible.
There was a flag on that play. Were you a little bit antsy when you saw or heard that there was a flag?
I didn't see the flag until coming back to the sideline. And they didn't, state what the flag was right off the back. So in my mind, it's just if we have to go back out there, let's do it again. That's our mindset. Anytime we're out there on the field, either it's punt return or kick return, we're trying to make game-changing plays and spark this team and get us going in the right direction.
Yeah, it seemed like you might have slipped right at the beginning of that. You think that might have thrown their timing off a little bit?
I don't think so. I really can't speak for their punt team, because their scheme and stuff is different, and that's with any team. But, from my standpoint, like I said, just securing the ball, make sure I had the ball first, reading my blocks. Guys are, busting their tail down the field. And like I said, creating alleys and lanes for me to run through and just making other teams pay.
463 return yards, school record. Talk about that and what that means to you.
It's a blessing. It's amazing. I didn't know it until, coming off before doing media. But again, it's not just me. My front 10, the coaching staff, they do a great job of just, giving me good opportunities and putting me in the right position to make plays. And again, our philosophy in the return game is just make the opposing team pay, and that's what we've been doing successfully all year.
How much has this team grown up, and what have you guys learned about yourself since that 3-4 start?
It's no quitting us. Our hunger, grows more week in and week out, and adversity is gonna hit a team, and they hit us early. But we put it upon the leaders on the team, to step up, embrace it. And make a change. And, we did that. We came together. I remember we had a Sunday team meeting where just the leaders, we're trying to get it turned around. This was early in the year. And, we're just preaching that to the younger guys and the rest of the team, to have our backs the same way we have theirs. And, we're in a good position right now, and we finished the way we wanted to finish. So.
With those 4 losses, does that leave just a little bit of a salty taste in your mouth because they were so close? And, a play here or there, you're in Atlanta next week?
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say a salty taste. But that's the thing about the game of football. You see things after the game that you didn't see, throughout the game or out the course of those games. And we learn from the mistakes. And like I said, we put ourselves in a good situation, to be where we are right now. And, we know that a couple more plays we would win, majority of those games or the rest of those 4 games. But we can't dwell on that, and we didn't dwell on that for the rest of the year. And, we are where we are now.
What did you guys do in the second half, especially in the third quarter? I think you guys held them to 6 yards, and that kind of broke the game open. And did you guys make some adjustments to kind of slow them down?
We didn't make too many adjustments, Guys just stepping and making plays, Guys flying around to the ball. We're trying to get 11 halves to the ball. Our crowd does a great job, impacting offenses while we're here, and guys, making the most of the opportunity out there on the field and not taking it for granted. And, stepping up and making, big-time plays and embracing roles on the team.
Just how much does Brian Randolph mean to this defense, and how good was it to get him and the rest of the seniors a win tonight?
It's amazing. First and foremost, just to send those guys off on a good note, finishing their career here at home off on a win, that's something they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. But a guy like Brian, in the back end, he's our leader in the back end. we go to him about anything. He makes all the checks, all the calls. He's lining guys up. And in the midst of all that, he's still making plays out there on the field, flying around, swarming around the ball. And, we're going to miss him greatly. We got one more game with him. But the way he plays out there on the field is something we don't take for granted. It never goes unrecognized.
Now, he says he's not a sentimental guy. He might have mentioned that at least once or twice.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Were you feeling any emotions with it being his last game?
Nah, we know he got one more with him. Maybe for the bowl game, we might get him, being a little sentimental. But great guy, humble guy, and that's on and off the field, and somebody that I have in my corner, for the rest of my life.
Hey, what goes through your mind when you get in the clear on that punt return and the punter's the last man standing?
Make a miss, as well as anybody else on the punt team. Make a miss, and try to do something spectacular for our team. Putting our team in a good situation to win games. And again, like I said, it's all about playing complimentary football. Punt return is just an opportunity to jumpstart our offense. And when we have good plays and good returns in the kicking game, it gets those guys going, and they're able to put up points as well. So just trying to make a play.